All right, well, we're gonna run it through. And there's notices on it that say that you should not stand behind it when you run through there, but we see we've got some stain on this board, so we'll see if it takes it off. I'm gonna get on this side so we can watch the load meter. Crank it up a little more. Just about got it. All right, well, I'll call that a success, you know, for a machine that was sold to be problematic. A little bit of tweaking, a little bit of adjusting. I'll say that the issue that I've noticed is that the this belt trimmer right here, which is how you adjust the tracking on it, really sensitive, and there, you know, you don't have a lot of room for error. In other words, you got to be like really on, because if you're off just a tiny bit, well, the thing's now tracking on you. You may be looking at it and it looks like it's running straight, but it's actually very slowly moving to one side or the other. So if you don't have it like perfectly dialed in, it'll walk on you, and after a little bit it's going to be off one side or the other, running off the edge of it. So all right guys, I'm still working on this thing. I actually had it running good, and you can see the fresh wood on there. I put a 2x6 through it and sanded it down on both sides. It seemed to do pretty good. And I started on this. This is really thin. I think it's 18 or 20 gauge. It's not what I would normally use, but I started, you can see where it was starting to sand it, and I was slowly raising it up because I don't know what to expect from this. People have said that if you have metal, that you run it the opposite way that the wood would go through. So, you know, I was just trying to feel my way through it. But after a little bit of it running, I don't know, it was probably running for like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, put the board through and then started putting the metal through. Eventually the belt, you know, worked its way off and shredded itself, or partially did. So, and this is kind of what the guy that I got it from said. He said, you know, like I could get it running and get it going, but then after a little bit it would just work its way off. So anyway, with the belt off, you can now see that this thing, that somebody has really messed with this. Some boogered up looking welds there that have been partially ground down, and then this air cylinder that's in there, you know, it leaks, I guess, and when you have the tension on it, or no tension on it, it leaks out the top, and then when you put the tension on it and it raises the cylinder up, it's leaking from the bottom. So there's another cylinder here. I don't know what it actually does. You can see the air lines going into it. That cylinder, you know, is a lateral back and forth. So anyway, I'm gonna get this unbolted and pull this top roller off, so we can look at what's going on with this. All right, I thought I could just unbolt that from the end and just lift it out with my hands, but yeah, I don't know what it weighs, but it's pretty dang heavy. So that's a thick wall tube and a rectangle tube, and then the round tube there. I don't think it's solid, but it's pretty thick walled. So anyway, we're getting it out of here using the gantry crane. So let me get it out and get it over on the bench, and we'll take a look at it. All right, so I've got the cylinder out, and you probably can hear that, but it's leaking somewhere around the seal there on the end. There's a snap ring on that right there, so maybe can take that out and just replace the seal. Now that's in the resting position, or the position with no pressure on it. So when I flip the switch here that engages the tension, you see the shaft pushes up. This is the up side that pushes the roller up like that. We get a lot of leakage on the back side. Same thing on the seal. So Mike can just replace those seals on that and get that taken care of. Now let me show you this. Well, let me disconnect this, get rid of this air pressure. Check that. But oh, here's one question for you: is these lines, you know, they're kind of dark looking, but they don't feel like, you know, they're dry rotted or anything, and they don't, you know, they're really flexible and soft. You know, you can press on them. So I'm thinking that we just leave those lines like they are and don't do anything with those. What do you guys think? These fittings look good also. The one thing I saw right there is some newer looking Teflon tape. Let's see if I can get back and let that zoom. You can see that right there. So that one has been, you know, it's fairly white looking, so that's maybe somebody thought that would solve those other leaks. I don't know, or maybe that was leaking too. But here's the other question on this. Now, let me show you this. This goes in the top of this, and why this is threaded, I really don't know. If it's meant to be that way or not. And the one thing that you notice is that hole is not in the center of that. So is that way on purpose? Does it sort of act as an eccentric? You know, and this right here definitely does not look original. It's kind of like somebody cobbled that together, and maybe that whole thing is not original. I don't even know. Those threads are kind of loose in there. So that screws in there fine. There's no problem with that. And then this fits on the top of this shaft here, and it looks like this shaft has been cut, maybe, possibly, and it's got some flats on it like it needed set screws, or I'm not sure what that would be for, but this actually fits on there really fairly snugly. I mean, it's got a little bit of rock to it, you know, and probably when there's load on it, it's probably got a lot of rock to it. But I'm happy to make a new part for this, you know, and make it whatever it needs to be. I just don't know. I don't know what it should look like, or, you know, whatever. So you guys let me know if you have any thoughts on it. Would you just make a new one of these out of one piece and maybe make this coupler section longer so that it has more, you know, surface area on the shaft? That shaft, you know, I'm sure is hardened and ground. It doesn't look worn or anything, you know. I don't really, I mean, you see some like where it's been, but it, you know, I don't really feel anything like it's been worn from where that's on there. So that's some kind of chrome plated rod there, which I guess you would expect to be. So anyway, I'm going to upload this one, and you guys let me know what you think about this. I tried to call Powermatic today, and it says their phones are down, their internet's down. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can get a hold of them and see what they say. If you guys, and thanks to Jeremy, maybe he'll be watching this and he might have some further insight into what that looks like. I would love to see a parts diagram, or even somebody that's got one of these machines that could, you know, take some pictures of theirs so I can see what it looks like. This is a Powermatic model 253. So anyway, guys, appreciate it.